I have never driven a scooter in my life. Not particularly interested in them. I wouldn't drive one here in the United States because as a driver, I don't trust anybody else on the road. But that is exactly what I wanted to do when I visited Tulum, Mexico with my wife in our honeymoon. We didn't plan to rent a scooter when we were planning our honeymoon. Everything we wanted to do was close to their hotel. But the concierge told us about the abandoned lighthouse in Punta Allen and how it was one of the most beautiful views you could ever see. How could we miss that? He also suggested we rented a scooter since it was a short drive from the hotel to the lighthouse. My wife wasn't convinced, but I got her on board with an irrefutable, how hard can it be? You accelerate with your right, you brake with your left. We started towards Punta Allen. I know it was going to be an off-road drive, but in my mind it was going to be a sandy road surrounded by beautiful, luscious jungle, tropical jungle. Instead, it was an uneven, rough patch full of pre-colonial rocks. It was surrounded by jungle, all right, but it wasn't cute. And we were immediately hit by mosquitoes the size of chihuahuas. My wife told me we had to go back. She would not be eaten alive as part of our honeymoon. We headed back. I told her once back that we had rented a scooter for the full day, so returning it then would feel like unfinished business. I told her we should go into town and go to the fish market. To get to town, we needed to get on the freeway. I now had 30 minutes of extensive scooter driving experience. I was confident I could drive as fast as all the cars, buses, and 14-wheelers doing more than 100 miles per hour around us. We made it to the fish market, which was a shack, kitty corner to the freeway with traffic zooming by, like you would only have in a village of fishermen with a death wish. The server came out, we ordered the ceviche. The ceviche came out. It took my wife one look to decide that it looked fishy. She passed on it. Or for me, it was a mountain of fish so big, I barely made a dent on it. When we headed back, I wasn't paying as much attention as I was before. I was feeling tired and sleepy. I was full, and the heat was terrible. We made it to a four-way stop, and all the traffic lights were red. I wanted to turn right before the traffic across from me turned to their left. So I looked down to remind myself where my hands were, and I started going. And when I looked up, the traffic was coming at me faster than I expected, so I hit the brakes so I would let them go by. Only I didn't hit the brakes, and instead rolled on the accelerator. I rolled so hard that I caught in front of the traffic in front of me. And every time that I wanted to brake, I accelerated instead. In Mexico, dividers are a strip of grass, 6 feet wide, with a concrete curb around it. And that was good for me because when I hit it, I flew over the scooter, and I had enough runway to roll and stop. I stopped rolling in front of a bus. I imagine someone in the bus shouting to the rest of the passengers, "Hey, look at this pinche gringo rolling and doing gringo things." Until I stopped rolling and he saw the color of my skin is brown like his. Ay, chingada. Este way is one of us. This dumbass is raza. When I finally stopped rolling, I started looking for my wife. 2 days before, she said that she would be with me for better or for worse. this was definitely not my best. When I finally came into it, I saw her standing on the street with her arms over her chest, just shaking her head at me, just so angry. I can see from the look in her eyes that she was making and doing complicated math. We got married 2 days ago. We'll be in the US in 6 days. Can I still get an annulment? As it turns out, my wife never really fully boarded the scooter just so she could hop off in the case of an emergency, just like this. So this is how the accident played out. I brake, but I don't. I hit the divider, I fly over the scooter, I drop, I talk, I roll, I regret all of my life's decisions, and I fear for my wife's life. But for my wife, when she saw that I have forgotten how to brake, she just extended her legs. Just like that. She hopped off the scooter, pretended we weren't even together. Dusted off my bruises, I picked up the scooter, and I convinced my wife to get on it by promising her that once we made it to the hotel, there will be no more driving around. And I meant it. When we got to the hotel, I saw the fiberglass body of the scooter. It was scratched, dented, it had popped out of where it was supposed to be. I had exchanged a dangerous ride around a beach town in Mexico for my passport. And I didn't get the insurance because I am Superman's distant and Latino cousin, La Superhueva. Super dummy. I didn't have any money to pay to fix this. I was going to be in the next episode of Locked Up Abroad. I talked to the cooks at the hotel and I convinced them to help me fix the bike, which they did. The next day, I returned the bike, I got my passport, I turned around, I power walked to the door, and I ran to my hotel. In my room, I was finally safe. But Montezuma doesn't leave any unfinished business. The Aztec god exacted his revenge by punishing me for my recklessness. Or maybe I should have not trusted the raw fish on the side of the road, as my new wife suggested. I guess we'll never know.